Have you ever wondered what it's like to strip for the camera? What kind of person it takes? Well, you may be surprised. Tonight you'll find out as you meet black stars of the adult film industry and examine if these ladies are simply making money or being exploited by an industry that's overwhelmingly controlled by whites.
What's up, babe? I got a surprise for you.
What in the world?
And if I told you, you wouldn't be surprised, right?
Good evening. I'm Bev Smith, along with our piano man, Hilton Felton. Welcome to the show. This evening, a discussion, one that will ask the question, are the women who appear in adult entertainment films being exploited? Are they getting their fair share of the business? And what about African Americans who star in these kinds of films? You'll meet them tonight. Come join me as we say hello to Heather Hunter. Heather is a bright, new, shining star in the adult film entertainment industry. And she believes that by doing what she does, she'll get her chance in the legitimate industry. We welcome her to the show.
Thank you.
Roberto Santiago is a staff writer with Emerge magazine, and we have to thank him for supplying some of the research material. A lot we didn't know, we learned a lot, and we owe it all to you, Roberto. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I don't want to call this young, gorgeous lady the old person among the group, but she has been in movies for quite a while. Angel Kelly is her name. She's appeared in a variety of adult magazines such as Hustler, Player, High Society, and the like, and she has some very strong opinions about the role of African Americans in the industry, and that's where I want to start.
Oh, yes,
Excuse me while I turn to her for just a moment. Darling, I saw a video.
Yes.
I'm over 40. It was interesting. Let me just say this. I went to the bathroom for popcorn a dozen times doing this one.
Oh, my goodness.
There was a scene that troubled me as a black woman. You appear with 3 white men, and first of all, there are no words. Well, I guess there wasn't supposed to be any. Help me with this,
you mean
Angel.
in the scene?
Yeah, nothing. And you're having sex with 3 white men, and while I watched it, as an African-American woman, I thought, white men think that's all we're all about. Do you think they exploited you in that film?
No, not particularly, because what the story was about was a man that I was married to had been fooling around on me. So to get back at him, I decided to have sex with all of his friends. And that's what that scene was all about. But particularly the scene you saw was in what I call a compilation tape, which is really where they are exploiting me. They take that scene and they put it in that video. You can go out and buy 5 or 6 more videos with the same scene in it.
Do you have any control or any say-so over how they use your film?
No, no, and I find it very disappointing, and it's a battle that I've been fighting quite a bit in the last couple years, because back in January 1988, I put my foot down. I said, hey, that's it. I'm not making any more videos. The respect was gone, and as far as I'm concerned...
Excuse me again.
Uh-huh.
If I do that, I'm not ignorant.
No, 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 no.
But you use the word respect.
Yes.
You were having sex with 3 men in every imaginable position.
Right.
What's respect?
I don't feel ashamed of anything that I've done. Okay, what I mean by respect is if you look back about, let's say 6 or 7 years ago with the adult industry, when they were making 35mm films, they were shot in a professional manner with big budgets and good stories, with good acting. But that's what I mean by respect. It's gone down, 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 down.
And the industry has turned, as some other industries, Heather, you're shaking your head, to sleaze? You're the new kid on the block. Are you involved with sleaze?
I wouldn't say I'm involved with sleaze. I'm really not. The company that I work for, to me, the company now that I work for, Vivid Video, is an excellent company.
It is one of the few.
It's the best,
one
of the few. And they treat me very well. And I wouldn't say, and the acting, the company I used to work for in New York City, Vidway, it was a different part of town from LA, East Coast and the West Coast. Vidway was good, but the acting, the budget on the movies weren't really good. But Vivid is excellent, I think so. I wouldn't call it sleaze.
Let me, I want to ask all the questions that some of our viewers out there have always wanted to ask, and I'm going to do that tonight. And I say to you, as I said earlier, if at any time I cross the line, just say, hey, Bev. Sister, please, okay? Just do that. I said pornographic films, and a voice said, no, Beverly, adult entertainment.
Yes.
Is it pornographic? And isn't adult entertainment the same thing? Is a rose by any other name a rose, Roberto?
Well, it's a euphemism. You know, it's pornographic films, adult entertainment, X-rated videos. It's all the same thing, but it sounds better to say adult entertainment.
I'd
Yeah.
rather be known as
Yeah.
an adult actress, not a porno star.
Exactly.
Right.
So does using the term adult entertainment stars give you legitimacy
Well,
in the industry that is difficult, even when it is so-called legitimate to get into? Does it give you legitimacy?
well, me it does. It does really.
Okay.
I've done a lot of things.
We're talking about this in a very business manner.
Right.
It is a big business, isn't it?
It's a big business, and I think it's very important to stress that it's a white-controlled business. When I was doing research for a film, I would speak to a lot of black people, and a lot of black people thought that black videos were made for the entertainment of black people. That's just not the case. Adult black video is made for the entertainment of white heterosexual males. And that's why interracial videotapes are so popular. It's made, okay, now, first of all, we should explain, what is the purpose of an adult video? Why does a man buy it?
I asked that question when I was watching it, folks.
Right, okay. Men are turned on by visual stimulation. And the purpose of renting an adult video is for masturbation. Fans of adult video buy it specifically to put in the tape, watch, and to masturbate to it. I mean, that's clear cut. It's geared for the white male audience. White men like seeing white men with black women. And they also like seeing the very stereotypical stuff, particularly in the beginning. In the beginning, we had really outrageous racist videos.
yeah.
We had things like Black Bimbos and Heat.
Yes.
We had things like, there was one called Soul Holes. There
Let me tell you about Black
Let me tell you about
Chicks.
Black Chicks. Let me tell you about Black Chicks. It's a very
Was
important
the
film.
worst.
A very important film to speak about. In that film, you had was it two or three?
2 white men
Yeah,
with Sahara.
two men dressed in Ku Klux Klan outfits, having sex with a black woman named Sahara.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I never
Yeah.
would do that.
Yeah.
Never, and I
But
never
see,
have.
I would speak.
That's what bothered me, though, when I saw Angel's film.
If you
It
could have
wasn't
seen
it that
the actual
concept?
film, I think you would have gotten a different look.
Look
But
at-
because of what you saw was just jumping right from where I'm with these 3 men, not really knowing the whole story of what was going on.
But in the
then.
one with Sahara, how is it different?
Well, okay, now, I was speaking to H.L. Sorrell. H.L. Sorrell is the editor-in-chief of Players Magazine. I asked H.L. Sorrell about that scene. How is it that Sahara could allow herself to be in such a degrading video? And H.L. Sorrell told me, well, what the white producers do, they play a psychological game on the actresses. They tell them, oh, this is just in fun. Oh, this is satirical. Oh, you know, this isn't exploitive. You know, this is just in fun. But then when you see the results on video, it's very upsetting.
But isn't it playing
Yeah.
to all of the stereotypes that
Yes.
white men
Plus,
have about
back
black
then,
women?
Back
Yeah.
then, when Sahara made these videos, okay, it was before me. She had been in a couple years. Back then, all black actresses only could get parts as maids or whores. Okay, and the people that produced this particular video were the biggest people to work for.
Yes.
So I'm sure when they approached her and like, hey, we want to use you, it's like,
All she
do I
thought is,
work
"This is
or
my
not?
opportunity."
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot of money in terms of these films. The adult movie industry is a what billion-dollar industry?
Okay, adult video in 1989, according to Adult Video News, the trade magazine for the adult video industry, was $380 million, okay? That is made by the distribution companies and the producers. The actresses make very little money.
There's
Um,
no
both-
percentage.
Yeah, no percentage. Both Angel, Heather.
I get royalty deal on my movie.
But wait a
And
minute, how are you
that's very
paid?
different. That's very
Yeah,
different.
it's very
you see.
different.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
How are
we're
you
paid by
paid?
a flat rate, and some people get residuals, some people don't. It depends. I'm under contract with a company.
And she's
So-
the first black star
Yeah.
to ever be under contract.
And the first one also to receive residuals. In other words, Heather receives a certain amount of money for each video cassette sold.
Are you paid per scene or per act or per
Per
length of the
day.
film?
I'm paid per day, and I'm paid when the movie is sold. I'm paid like per tape. I get a percentage of it that is sold. Yeah.
Now, that's now, there's a very important thing to remember about Heather. Heather is very unique. Heather is everybody I spoke to in the industry, and I've spoken to everybody, as both of you know, they've all said Heather is going to be the special black woman in this industry. She is going to be the biggest black star ever. And that is why. And that is why they went after you. For example, I was speaking to Paul Thomas, who has Vivid, and I asked him, why is it that you chose Heather instead of Angel Kelly, Jeannie Pepper, all the other black actresses? And he was very blunt. He said, Heather is the only one that's appeared in quality-looking product. We know.
Oh my God, about Vidway?
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
Let's take a
Dave.
break. This is when it gets interesting. I bet you're wondering how they got in the business. We want to know, and we'll find out right after these messages, and we'll get you involved. 1-800-344-BETV. 1-800-344-BETV. We'll be back.
At DeVry, computer students work on projects with real-life applications. DeVry students computerized a local disaster support system.
To get them help when they need it fast.
Did a great job.
At DeVry, you get a degree plus real-life experience.
That's an education for success.
Call now, 1-800-247-7800. DeVry, we're serious about success.
30 years and 30 kinds of rice-a-roni for moms to choose from and families to love.
2 million times a day, America loves to eat rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat.
Inspiration, information, glamour, success. Who do you call to get it all?
I call on Essence.
And how do you find the real deal on corporate fashion and sisters in soaps, diets that satisfy, and oh my, carefree hair, career moves, building self-esteem?
I call on Essence.
How about being your own boss, raising strong kids, cosmetics for self-assured style, Billy D and Mr. Lee, Alice, Oprah, Arsenio, plus savings of over $10 off the newsstand price.
I call on Essence. Toll free.
And so can you. Call on Essence now, and Essence will call on you each month with free home delivery at 40% off the newsstand price. Essence, call and get it all.
To order Essence, call toll-free 1-800-733-3300. 12 issues for just $10.96. Save 47% off the newsstand price. Call now 1-800-733-3300. 1-800-733-3300.
Just a kiss?
That's all. That's what you're doing this for, right? Just a couple of kisses.
And that is the film that I was talking about. It's called Adult Entertainment. And as you wonder if you've turned into our voices, yes, you have. Tonight we're talking about the adult entertainment industry, and we're talking with the people involved in it. How did you get involved in this? I must say that for African Americans, I don't think we really thought there were black stars in this industry. Because even though it is a $5 billion, what, a $536 billion?
$380 million was earned in 1989, adult video.
What percentage is black?
Black, according to AVN, is between 15 to 20%.
That's who buys the videos.
Well, I'm talking about the amount of videos made. I mean, when you go to a video store, about 15 to 20% of the videos you'll see
Have
are
blacks in
yeah,
them.
black interracial videos.
Okay. You said black interracial videos.
Well,
are
either
black
all-
women and black men ever paired together?
I'm sorry, black
It's
women.
rare.
Yeah.
There's not that many
Yeah.
blacks in the adult industry to make a whole video, just all blacks.
So very rarely would you see a complete video with
Very rare.
all black male stars and all black female
Well,
stars.
the whole point, and this is according to William Margold. William Margold is considered to be the spokesman of the adult video industry. William Margold, in 1983, I believe, or 84, made the first all-black video called Hot Chocolate. And I asked Bill, Bill, how did that sell? He says, oh, it sold great. It sold like 18,000 copies. It was really good. And he said because it wasn't marketed to blacks, he says, oh, absolutely not. I wouldn't make a dime if I marketed to blacks. It's marketed to whites. And I asked him why. He says, oh, because it's an oddity. It's a curiosity. White people like always want to see black people having sex. And, so I presented that. And then I asked him, well, in that video, I felt very uncomfortable with it because it was racist. You know, you had
The dialogue is hideous.
it's hideous. People
It's
calling each other
terrible.
the N-word. I won't say it on the air.
Dirty
Well, we say it around
Oh,
here.
well, okay. Well,
Okay.
all right. There's a scene in which Jack Baker gets hit over the head with a rib. And I
Yeah.
asked,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh my God. Yes, I did.
it's blatantly racist. And
Yeah.
I asked Bill, Bill, why did you do this?
Really?
Yeah. I asked him, Bill, why did you do this? He says, well, because my wife hates blacks, and sometimes I'm not too crazy about them either. He says.
is.
And I said, well, okay. See, I like the fact that Bill was very honest with me. His wife hates blacks.
But the
and he decided to
interesting
do
thing
that.
is that white males and in middle to low income are the chief purchasers as consumers of these tapes. And if you look at the men who are more likely to join the Klan, who are more likely to belong to the White Citizens Party, they are white males, middle to lower income.
Right.
So this is a racist industry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did you get involved in it, Heather? You're so young.
I got involved with it. One thing led to another.
How?
Well, it led in the way I wanted it to lead. This is the way I wanted my life to go. I started off dancing. I was dancing in a club at 18, and I was approached by magazines to do magazine work. I always wanted to do it,
What kind of dancing?
As in stripping, I was a stripper, and I've been on my own for a while. I started stripping, and then this magazine, Players Magazine, asked me did I want to do a layout. I did a layout, and I was surprised about how much people liked me, and I really, for some strange reason, I loved it, and I still love what I do. So from that, doing more magazines, Hustler, and I was offered to do Boy and Girl Penthouse thing. I did that, and
Why the crossover into videos? Because
Well,
in
it
the
took
other
me-
things, you're
yeah.
just posing.
yeah, it took me 6 months. I was approached by Vidway to do a video, and it took me 6 months to think about it. He asked me, he was my friend, he asked me, do I want to do this? And more, I said, let me try it, let me do it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, and I did it. And the first video I did, I loved it. I loved being in front of the camera, doing what I was doing. And it also saw me later in life doing what else I want to do, which was dancing legitly, acting legit.
Why didn't you try that? I'm not moralizing. I'm asking a question I bet everyone out there wants to know. If you want to be a legitimate actress, okay, and if you love being in front of the camera, and if the camera makes you look good, and it does, dear,
Thank you.
then why didn't you go to acting school?
Well, what it was, I was on my own. That's what it was. And it's hard to maintain school and also try to make money. And
So you got into this business first to make money to survive?
Well, first, yeah, I got into the business to survive at first, because I was going to school, I wasn't living home, and I wanted to stay in school. And also I needed to make money. And I lived with a friend, a best friend of mine. So I really was off very well. I was doing good for myself. But I wanted to get away from New York. I wanted to travel. I went to Connecticut. I went dancing. And one thing led to another. And I just seemed to like the way my life was leading. And now, what I do now, I've done a motion picture, which will be out in May, called Frankenstein 1990. I got my SAG card. I'm a legitimate actress now. I'm working on a music recording.
So it was a way for you.
It was a way, and I'm lucky I got there.
Has it been a way for you, Angel, to do what you wanted to do?
That's a really rough question, honestly, because I was a model, legitimate model at 17, but being only 5'6", of course, it was going to be too difficult to proceed in runway modeling. I wasn't tall enough. So I winded up becoming a dancer at 18 and 19, an exotic dancer. And I did that for 3 years, and then that led to the magazine work. And someone out in LA saw my pictures in magazines, and they contacted me in Michigan. I grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and asked me if I'd be interested in making adult films. And at that point in my life, I had danced for 3 years, I'd made some money, but it wasn't enough. It's like I wanted more.
So true.
And then
More money?
More money.
Yeah, you just,
Is the
more
money
You
good?
live a lifestyle. You live a certain lifestyle.
The money
you get
is
used to.
okay. I mean, when people say, "Oh, Angel, aren't you rich?" I say, "Oh, no, I wish I was," but I'm comfortable. I can go places if I choose. I have food in my stomach. I have an apartment, a car, but I'm not by any means rich, not as rich as I see the adult industry getting off of my face and my body.
That is true.
Are you angry Are you angry at the industry, Angel?
I think I'm very bitter. I mean, I've experienced an awful lot in the last 4 years that I've been in the business, been involved with many, many different people, and there are some very sincere people in the adult industry, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that, you know, I'm kind of glad. And my mother, she says to me, she says, you know, you're just now finding out something that I always knew. Well, I guess you really don't know until it hits home.
You mentioned your mother. First of all, let me invite you to get involved. It's a conversation I'm sure you might want to get involved in. 1-800-344-BETV, 1-800-344-BETV. And if you're in the Virginia, Washington, and Maryland area, 636-2060, area code 202. I have to talk about parents. You mentioned your mother.
Yeah, my mother is
What did your mother
wonderful.
say when you started in the business?
For the first couple months that I got in, I didn't tell her about it directly until I did my first interview, which was for Players Magazine. And they did a wonderful interview with me being involved with the adult industry. And I actually showed that to my mother. And she felt very proud of me.
Has she seen your videos?
No, she doesn't really care to watch them. She knows what I do. She knows everything I do. I tell her everything. And the one thing that I'm so lucky about that a lot of the ladies in the business aren't is my parents are very supportive, both my mother and my father.
What about you?
My family, yes. It's hard to explain. It's like I left home when I was 16 because I just didn't want to live under my mother's rules. We do have a great relationship. It's just I could not live home. I was just always out there. And my mother took me a year to tell my mother what I did. She had an idea. She never really came up front and asked me, but it took me a year. And when I told her, she accepted, as long as I'm happy, as long as I'm doing what I want to do. And I seem very well off, you know, compared to the rest of my family.
So you're not suffering.
I'm not suffering.
Let's go to the phones. Good evening. Thank you for being out there. You're on Our Voices.
Hello, Bev. I love your show. I've watched it from day one.
Thank you.
I just want to say it's a great show.
Your first name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Jay, and I'm calling from Denver, Colorado.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to pose a question to either of the young ladies. I'd like to know that your career choices, how do they affect your relationships off screen, as I said, with friends, boyfriends, or whoever, or just friends in general?
For me, I think it would be very, very difficult to have a personal relationship. While I've been in the business, I have not had a personal relationship because I'm waiting for that day that I can meet that special guy, and I want him to be all mine and I want to be all his, and I don't want him to worry about me going out sleeping with who knows and all of this kind of stuff. But there are couples who are swingers in the business that can deal with, you know, this whole situation. But for me, I'm not all about it at all. And it's sad. I get very lonely.
Yeah, when you do get to the top, you do get lonely.
Yes. Jay, another question, Jay?
Yes. I just wanted to say that I really must commend your families for standing behind you and supporting you, although the one sister said that her mother doesn't care to see the films. I really have to commend them for even continuing to communicate with you, because that's just not an everyday thing.
Yeah, it's true.
But would either of you, do you feel you'd have a problem with whoever that special person you may meet one day, really realizing that aside all that and what you do for a career, that you're still a true to earth, loving, caring, and sensitive human being, and not just an object?
I think I will.
I will.
It kind of bums me out. I mean, I really do. As I meet guys and they say, "Oh, Angel Kelly, I know you. I saw you in this," instead of, you know, saying, "My, you're a really pretty young lady, and my name is so and so, and I'd like to meet you." When the first line that comes out of their mouth is, "I saw you in this," then I know it's not going to work.
It's hard.
But don't you think that that's to be expected, though? Because if you're a person who watches a video like that, and you see what you do, how does the man, if what you say, Roberto, is true, thank you, Jay, that men are visual creatures, then if they see you in these videos, if they are visual creatures, did you think I handled that well? I handled that so well. They are visual creatures, darling, and since they are, if they look at you, then aren't they only going to be able to identify you one way? Let's take a break. When we come back, is what you do sex? Are you involved sexually? We'll find out after this.
Day after day, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., you can save an additional 25% on AT&T long distance. So you get a bigger discount during the best time to call. And you can keep on saving 24 hours a day.
So you can run 4 miles at a time I run too.
It's all possible with the AT&T Reach Out America plan. The calling plan that lets you save money without losing the AT&T quality and service you've come to rely on. But that's not all. The AT&T Reach Out America plan also gives you a 10% daytime discount, plus an hour of weekend and night calls, so you can call all across America for one low price. To order the AT&T Reach Out America plan, call 1-800-341-5550. You'll get a 25% discount off our already low prices from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. An hour of weekend and night calls, plus our 10% daytime discount. It all adds up to savings 24 hours a day. And it costs just $8.70 a month. That's the AT&T Reach Out America plan. The plan that's got America talking.
Hi, Grandma. Yes, I'm fine, and so is Harry.
To order, call 1-800-341-5550. Need another reason?
And call, Maria.
The plan also includes an international discount at no extra charge.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You can even get an option that lets you save on calls away from home. Call 1-800-341-5550 for the AT&T Reach Out America plan and save on quality AT&T long distance day and night.
Somebody bring me a mirror. Donnie, what are you doing here?
Well, you said you needed a mirror.
Well, that ain't no mirror. Jerome. Now that's a mirror. Fellas. Sure. Ain't this a mirror? Yeah, mirror is what I'm talking about.
The time is reunited. You're going to be with us on Video Soul this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BET.
Welcome back. We're talking about the adult entertainment industry. Did I do all right?
You did perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And we're talking with people involved in the industry. Meet them again. Heather Hunter. Heather Hunter is, as Roberto Santiago said, a top star, a rising star in the industry who got in the industry so she could go to the legitimate films, and she's in one.
Nice.
And also the man that we're referring to, our expert in this category, Roberto Santiago. He's a staff writer with Emerge magazine. And if you will do the honors, Roberto, you were telling me during the film, listen, Bev, do you know who you have sitting here with you? Okay. And I said, child, please, no.
All right. Angel Kelly is the biggest star the industry has ever produced. When people think about black adult star, it's Angel Kelly. She controlled the 80s, absolutely dominated the 80s. And she knows everything about the business. Anything you have to ask about the business, Angel Kelly knows. So Angel Kelly has gone through the entire cycle. And it's interesting because where Angel has left off, people have jumped on suddenly on Heather Hunter. Heather has done very few videos, okay? But every time I speak to people about Heather Hunter, producers, people who control the money people, they see dollar signs.
So I'm sitting among the top stars in the industry.
These are the two biggest.
I knew one day I'd be able to sit among the top anything in the industry.
But I wanted to say something. Even though he may say that Angel Kelly is supposedly, and I say supposedly, the big star of the 80s, I've never been acknowledged for
by
that.
The industry itself?
By the industry in any way, shape, or form about anything.
Is it because you're black?
I think so.
Have you been exploited?
I think so.
And that's why you're angry?
Yes, because I came into the scene, my timing of getting into the business was right when interracial was the thing, you know, and I was the first black to be used in all white videos. And all of a sudden, I was the only one for a long time, even though there was Jeannie Pepper and there was Ebony Eyes, and Sahara stuck around for a little while, and then she said, ah, forget it, it's not worth it, you know, and then Sade came around and Nina DePonk, and by that time I had already made 100 videos. You know, so then using a black and an all-white video was, oh, it's acceptable, everybody likes it, we make lots of money, so.
And you didn't make any of that money, or not a big portion of the money?
I just got paid that one time, and I think I probably would be all right if I could just be acknowledged for the work that I've done. And I've seen them take white girls that are absolute bimbos out of their minds and win awards, and I'm like, what?
So there are awards for what you do?
There are.
Oh, I'm dying to ask this question. Stick with me, folks. I have to ask this question. Darling, tell Mother, how do they decide what category wins?
Oh, I can't mention the categories on the air.
Thank you.
But use your imagination, and you're right.
And with that thought in mind, I'll go right to the phones. Let us say good evening. Thank you for being out there. You're on Our Voices. Your first name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Pernell, and I'm calling from Oklahoma City.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bev. First, let me make a comment. I think you three ladies are very outstanding women. You're very beautiful, and it's an attribute to have you in the black race.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me say, we've all acknowledged that this industry is a very racist industry. This question is directed to the new up-and-coming queen. Do you think, or has the thought ever crossed your mind, that this organization or the people involved are taking advantage of you or exploiting you because of the fact that you have a very beautiful skin color, which happens to be a fair color? Has that thought ever entered your mind?
I'm glad you asked that question. When I got on the cover of this magazine called Adult Video News, I assumed that Angel Kelly, Jeannie Pepper, Sahara, other black porn stars were in the business, got on the cover. And I was the first person on the cover, and I was so shocked that that happened. And people were telling me, I talked to people in the business, they were telling me, Heather, I think because you photograph more lightly on camera, and you know, you're new, you just got into the business, you know, they like your look, and you know, but really upset me that I didn't know that Angel Kelly and them didn't get onto the cover of it.
So it is your color?
It really is my color, and it's also that I got into the business when things were changing. You know, I've only done 12 films, and how I shut up there so quick, I didn't understand. Angel Kelly's done over 100 and, you know, something films, and I think she's gorgeous. You know, and I swore, you know, and that she wanted, did you win an award?
Never.
And that's really, were you ever nominated?
Oh, one time I got nominated for Best Actress, but that was just to make the list
the young
longer.
Man and answer the same question. You started out when there weren't no Heather Hunters.
Right.
And you, for what you do, you forged a way. You were the first.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
So why weren't you recognized? Was it your color, your skin tone?
No. One thing people would say, my gosh, you know, you don't sound black. The way I talk. You know, the way I present myself, the fact that, you know, boy, you speak with such intelligence. So they were willing to deal with that. And then you look at Heather and it's like, okay, she speaks intelligently and whatnot, but look, her skin, it's much lighter. We like that. Now, when she got on that cover, I put up a real serious fit about that. And people were like, oh, or she's jealous of Heather Hunter. And it's not, no, that's not what that's all about. That's not why I'm getting upset. It was all about the fact that I had done so much, never being acknowledged. And here 4 years later, then Heather gets that cover. You see? And
are you an advisor to Heather? I mean, are the two of you friends?
Well, we just really got to know each other today. Since we, first time me and her really got to talk about it. To talk about everything,
All right, thank you so much for your question. Let me ask you, and invite all of you to join in if you have a question, 1-800-344-BETV. I want to know about sex, because when you talked about, answered the question from the young man about your personal life, I sensed sincere loneliness with you. Are you involved in sex? I mean, how, if not,
Well,
how
to
do you
the
separate?
videos, I enjoy sex. I mean, I couldn't make those videos if I didn't enjoy sex.
Yeah.
It would just be, you know, ridiculous. Although there are girls who do it, you know, not liking what they're doing, but I enjoy having sex on, not, I shouldn't say on camera, but I enjoy having sex.
In front of the camera.
Yeah.
In front of the camera doesn't really bother me one way. It's a question of, do you enjoy having sex? Not whether
Is
it
that
doesn't
why
really
you got
matter.
into the movie? Because you,
Yeah.
a part of it is because you enjoy having sex?
Yes, and the acting. I wanted to learn more about acting, and which case I did. I got to work with some very good directors and some really wonderful actors and actresses that I learned
But
a
you
lot
enjoy
about
the
acting.
sex?
Yeah.
Enjoy the sex.
Something about, to me, when I'm in front of the camera, I'm a totally different person. I am. And
Do the words wild thing apply? Just want to know.
I'm just a totally different Heather
You
Hunter.
didn't say yes, Beverly. All right, so a part of it is you're aroused by it also.
Yeah.
All right, so I have to talk to you as an African-American woman. The mythology among white males is that we are free and easy, and when we were slaves, we were taken by them at will. There is this myth, and it has nothing to do with us being sexual beings, that we're easy because of the color of our skin. Do you ever think about that?
No.
No,
I mean, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange because, you know, please don't think I'm conceited or anything, but, you know, they do look at us and they say, boy, they are gorgeous ladies, and they are attracted to us. Although I've never really dealt with any of the white men in the business that said, I will absolutely not work with Angel Kelly. It's more of white females that I've had that kind of a conflict with.
I've never had a conflict at all.
Speaking about white females, in both videos, I'm not ignoring you, please, but this is so fascinating.
I'll sit
How
here.
often would I get the chance, you know what I mean? In both films, and I'm going to place this as delicately as I can. What the heck. In both films, there are lesbian relationships. The rule of thumb had always been that women who are involved in the adult entertainment business have been prostitutes or on drugs, get drugs and or money and or both for performing, and are lesbians. What part of all this is true?
Sure, it's true. It's true in every aspect in life. You know, I mean, because, I mean, I don't do drugs. I don't think Heather does drugs. You
There's
know,
drugs in the industry.
but not in the industry. It's that individual. This girl may do it, and that guy may do
You
it.
have your
but
good and your bad, you know, in anything, I see, you know.
But it is a business. I mean, these people are in there to make some money one way or another.
But are you lesbians?
Bisexual, I would call myself. You know, I enjoy men and I enjoy women. You know, I don't have any problem either way, but I do choose. I did come to a point in my career where I chose who I wanted to work with in front of the camera.
Are there things you will or will not do, or will you do it all?
Yes. No, I will not.
Bestiality?
Well, of course, they don't do that. They don't do that. That's the black market. Is that where they have bestiality and children, and that's not in our industry.
It exists, but it's very small, and that's not, you know, that's on their side. Well, one thing, Bev, you haven't asked is that a lot of people feel that pornography should be banned. You know, you have the Edward Dworkins and
Okay.
I just wanted.
Okay. I have a caller waiting, and I want to get that caller in, but go
One
ahead.
thing I don't like is that I dared when I first got into the business was to have a topic as my title being "Tell me about black chicks" or "Tell me, you know, hot chocolate fudge." I will not let anything with my name or any material that I make come out as a title as black or chocolate or anything racist. You know, it would just have to be Heather Hunter's on Fire or Heather Hunter's Coming to America.
Or any of those fancy titles.
She's probably the first one to really put her foot down and say, hey, this is the way I want it. And that's why Heather has never appeared, you know, in titles with short, you know, with exploitive titles.
Did you ever appear in an exploitive title?
The first year I was in the business, you know, Black Valley Girls. What Valley Girl talks? You know, what black girl talks with a, you know, hotter chocolate, black taboo. But then after the first year I was in the business, I became the same way, especially with Fantasy Home Video is where I really started. And after that I said, if they called me and asked me to appear in that video just because of the title, I said, forget it. You know, why don't you put me in Talk Dirty to Me, which is like a well-known, you know.
It is?
Yes, very well known.
Well,
And this is where the talk show hostess says it's time for a break. So she can find out what she's talking about. We'll be right back.
When I started here at DuPont, my education gave me an advantage. I understood business and technology. That's why DuPont hired me right out of DeVry.
At DeVry, the difference is how you learn, hands-on with current methods. You have the advantage of knowing the technology that makes business work.
Some of my team has had the same advantage I had. I hired them from DeVry.
Call now, 1-800-247-7800. DeVry, we're serious about success.
Somebody bring me a mirror. Donnie, what are you doing here?
Well, you said you needed a mirror.
Well, that ain't no mirror. Jerome. Now, that's a mirror. Fellas.
Sure.
Ain't this a mirror?
The mirror
That's what I'm talking about.
The time is reunited. You're going to be with us on Video Soul this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BET.
From Hollywood Pictures and Amblin Entertainment. 8 legs, 2 fangs, and an attitude.
Some dancing business. It's just a spider.
2 legs, 300 pounds, and a spray gun.
Rock and roll!
This summer, it's one man versus a town full of spiders, and only one will win. Jeff Daniels, John Goodman.
Yeah, that's right. I'm bad.
Now playing at the Century and Cinedome Theaters. Register to win for your free movie tickets at Mr. E's 2 Sacramento locations.
You're not smoking.
Start. Now. Wake up. Look at the screen. Light up. Smoke! Now. You look great.
Take a look.
Trust us. Smoke!
Let us inside. Come on, baby.
It is the thing to do.
Start.
Adult entertainment, that's what we're talking about tonight, and we're inviting you to get involved when you dial 1-800-344-BETV. Let's go to the caller. Good evening. Thank you for being out there. You're on Our Voices. Your first name and where you're calling from. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, this is Bev. You're on Our Voices.
Yes, Frida, Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
I'm old enough to be their mother, and I have a daughter that's in her 20s, and this worries me. Where do adult video actresses go after they reach a certain age, and if and when you find someone that you want to settle down with, will you tell them what you have done in your earlier life?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a relationship do you hope to have with someone after being in adult films?
Okay, you understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear. You understand what she's saying. Will you allow, if you have children, would you show one of your tapes to your children?
You know, I thought about that very.
I don't know if I'd show them a tape. I'd tell them about it.
I'll tell them
but-
about it, what I do, and I won't be, afraid about telling them.
What do you plan to do after the business?
Well, that's why I'm trying to cross. I'm doing my best trying to cross over. This is what I always wanted to do, and right now I'm working on some music. I'm going to New York. I'm working. I want to do so much. And I do music videos.
So you want to get out of the business?
I want to get out of the business. You know, I figured this, I want to make this my last year. I would like to make this my last year. If it doesn't happen for me, I will try to make the next year my last year. But I do have a goal. And you know, I'm an artist, I'm a fashion, I do fashion illustration, I do cartoons. I find myself, I can do other things, but right now this is what I'm doing.
What about you?
I'd like to go behind the camera. I've been in front of the camera for so long. I'm
Stay
really
in the
fascinated. I'd like it to, no, not necessarily. This last year I got involved with producing and doing my own videos. And it was fascinating, and if I could get the job, if they would trust me to actually, you know, have Angel Kelly, the black woman, produce her own video, I'd do it. Otherwise, I'd like to, you know, move on out of the industry, but still work behind the camera. I'm very interested in that.
All right, we have been making this sound like it's just wonderful. But I hear that there's a part of this industry that is very dangerous.
Yes.
That people can get killed being involved in this industry, or at the least, hurt. So
more or less die of AIDS.
Yeah.
You know, having John Holmes die of AIDS was one of the most terrifying things to happen to this industry. And from that point on, just only when he died did they start making it more or less mandatory for people to get tested.
Yeah.
And when I began the Pink Ladies, this is one of the things that I taught.
Tell them what the Pink Ladies is all about.
It's a support group of the ladies in the adult industry. I started it about 2 years ago with my friends Portia Lynn and Nina Hartley. And we tell the ladies, okay, why don't you demand when you go on the set that you want to see the proof that this person's been tested for AIDS? Have your actors tested for AIDS, actresses tested for AIDS. You get yourself tested. Make sure that you're okay. You know, so
have the both of you been tested?
I've been, me.
Even
I've been on
last
contract with 2
December.
companies. I stay on contract. I will not do
freelance.
I will not freelance movies.
But even though you're under contract,
but
you choose who
I
you're going
choose-
to
I
work
choose
with,
who I
and you
work
want to
with.
know if that person
So you get to
is
pick your
I get to pick who I
leading
want.
men?
Yeah, leading men, leading women, how the script is going,
So
what's
you
going to be put
have
out there on the box
creative
cover.
control.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. Good evening. Thank you for being out there. You're on Our Voices. Your first name and where you're calling from.
Yes, hi, my name is Ingrid, and I'm calling from New York.
Welcome.
How you doing to all?
Hi.
I'd like to ask Heather a question. What positive image are you portraying for our youth today? Because they're seeing so much on television, and they're experiencing so much in the streets.
Oh, she said what kind of portrayed image?
Yes, what kind of positive image are you portraying?
She's talking about role models.
I never try to even see myself as a role model. I see myself as I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, and this is what I like to do. I wouldn't come out and do a commercial and say everyone become a porn star, you know, or adult video star.
But have you ever advised anyone black to get into the business?
You know, I've had so many girls come up to me, oh, Heather, I would love to do a video. I said, listen, you have to think about what you want to do. Don't jump into something before you know what you want to do.
Have you both ever felt threatened in the business? Have you ever come up against scary situations?
No, I've never came across.
Yeah, because in my travels, I've traveled all over the United States, and depending on what part of the country I'm going into, as a black feature star, I have felt a little scared, you know, at times.
Why? Because of the directors doing the films?
Oh, no, not
the
even.
actors?
This is as a feature
as a
dancer,
dancer, you go
you
on
know,
tour.
because as Angel Kelly porn star, people call and write in and hire me to do guest appearances in their video stores or their theaters. And in that respect, I've been, you know, when I go into a town and it's all white, I'm a little worried.
Have you ever had any weirdos follow you about? Fans who have gone beyond the bounds?
I've been attacked on stage.
I've been followed by this. I'm still followed by this guy. He's harmless.
How do you know?
I don't know that he's really harmless, but I've seen him at all my shows. Everything I do, he sends me letters for about 1.5 years, but it does bother you. He's wondering how much does this man love you, you know? How much will he go to the point
Are you under protection? Do you have security?
Well, every time now, I'm starting to go on road. I'm starting to go on tour now. I bring someone with me.
What about you?
whoever hires me to work, I always make sure they do have protection for me. Plus, I never travel under the name Angel Kelly. I don't want it written anywhere as far as hotels or airport reservations of any kind, so I protect myself in that respect. I dress completely different, believe it or not. I'm like night and day.
I saw that. I saw that right away. We'll take a break. Definitely. And when we return, so how can African Americans get their share of the adult industry? Right after this.
Cold-blooded, vicious, violent. Other long-distance company. Try to call Phoenix? I misdialed Fiji. I try again. Fiji again. So I call the operator. She says she can't give me instant credit. I say AT&T always did. She says, you're not dealing with AT&T.
If you miss dealing with AT&T, it's easier than ever to come back. Just call 1-800-582-5100 right now and we'll switch you back for free.
They kept saying how much money I'd save, so I kept waiting for that first low bill. Then I get it. I'm not kidding. I thought it was a typo. I mean, where were the big savings?
People who thought they could do better than AT&T are coming back for the real value, like the Reach Out America plan, where you can save 24 hours a day. Come back now for free. Call 1-800-582-5100.
Takes longer to get through. They aren't saving me what they said, so why am I doing this? But I thought, you know what? It's going to be a real pain to switch back.
Coming back to AT&T is easy. All you have to do is call us. We'll have you back with dependable AT&T long-distance service in no time. And if you call right now, we'll even switch you for free.
The last straw, when it took so long to reach a real person. I had, some problems, some questions about my bill. But I kept having to wait. I kept getting this recording.
You can count on AT&T to be there whenever you call. Just like you can count on us to make every conversation sound as clear as being right there. Don't wait to get back the service you deserve. Call now.
You gotta read the fine print.
Where's the big savings?
You gotta follow their rules. I couldn't believe it.
Why am I doing this? I don't get it.
They gotta be kidding. Big savings, huh?
You're not dealing with AT&T.
Oh, I am now.
1-800-582-5100 for dependable, crystal clear AT&T long-distance service. It's easy, and if you call right now, we'll switch you for free. You couldn't pick a better time to come back.
That's right. We're continuing our conversation about the adult entertainment business, and before we get back to some points that are needed and have to be made, Roberto will make those points. I have a program note. On Tuesday, Our Voices will discuss male survivors of sexual abuse. If you are a male survivor, Our Voices would like to talk to you. If your pencil is handy, please call tomorrow, Friday, between 9 and 5, and on Monday between 9 and 5, area code 202-636-2066 or 2067, and ask for the producer of Our Voices. And if you are a male survivor of sexual abuse, we want to hear your story. Speaking about stories, their stories seem so nice and wonderful and everything is hunky-dory. But do you hear the opposite sometimes?
Well, okay. I'm going to get into that, but first let me just explain something about censorship. The business is a meat grinder industry. I mean, it's a really tough industry. And a lot of people have called for censorship of the material and so forth and so on. But that is a bad idea. Although the intentions are good in the way, but it's a bad idea because that'll just make it harder for the women. That doesn't mean, just because you ban it doesn't mean that men and women are not going to do adult video. They will continue. It'll just make it really tougher.
So you're
really tougher.
Pornography.
I am against it. Once I went to an award show and there was a bunch of Christians out there marching with their signs, and they said, you know, you should go to church. And I was offended by that. You know, I'm very religious. I have a lot of beliefs, you know, and I know that God knows what I'm doing, but I also know that He knows that I'm a good person. I'm not, you know, trash.
The porn issue is a lot like the gun control issue and the abortion issue. Everybody has their own opinions, but the fact is, you know, in a free society, you have to allow things, whether they're good or bad. Now, the bad thing about the industry, okay, now, porn is not something a person really should do because everybody who I've spoken to, you know, all the producers, you know, all your bosses, they said, I would never have my daughter do this. I would never have anybody, my wife do something like that. They get these very angry reactions, every single one of them. All the people that you know that I know. And so they're being rather hypocritical because they're putting you
Exploited?
they're putting you in a role which they wouldn't want their own children to do.
Exactly.
Okay. And that really bothers me a lot. That that hypocritical
in their
standard.
minds, they're not settled about it at all.
Sure, right.
They're very hypocritical.
And the thing is that okay, you've decided to do porn. That's going to be your life. Okay. I happen to like both of you, and I really wish you wouldn't. I really wish you would do something else. But you've decided to do it.
Yeah.
But since you've decided to do it, I think both of you should make the most money that you can possibly. And I remember when I was speaking to Angel about the Pink Ladies, and Pink Ladies is the best organization. Any woman who's in porn has to get involved in that organization. It's the best. They protect each other. I remember I was speaking to Angel, and Angel was telling me, what if you unionized? And you can't unionize.
No.
If Angel unionized porn, the women in porn, Angel would not be sitting here right now.
It
She
would
would be
just-
eliminated.
Yeah, because
Killed.
maybe I'll get an awful
Wait a
lot
minute.
of support.
Eliminated, killed? What do you mean eliminated, killed?
Well,
as in physically dead?
As in out of the picture. We can say it that way, and it sounds a lot nicer.
As in physically dead?
Because, okay, it's just like Malcolm X, speaking up for blacks and
So if you tried to organize...
This is a white-controlled business, okay? So if Angel would come out as a force to unionize, to give justice to the women who are not paid as much as they should be, especially black women, she would not be here right now. It would just be ended.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the way it is.
So what's the answer for blacks who want to get into this business, if they choose? And I'm on Roberto's side. I would say I wish you wouldn't.
I just think it's a nice place to visit. Don't live there. I mean, it's really...
But what's the answer? You're in the industry now. What about for the other people that... It seems to me that there's a long distance between Angel and Heather.
Yeah.
What about all the in-betweens?
I don't know, because with all of my experiences that I've had and investigated, and I mean, on my own, I've tried to see what I can do to change. So I have a real hard time saying, hey, go out and give it a try, or just be careful when you try. I can't say anything.
Real quick, organized crime control the adult entertainment industry?
There's no real proven fact to any of
What
that.
do you think?
No comments.
What do you think?
I really couldn't tell you.
What do you think?
Well, it all depends who you speak to. It's sort of like when you talk about John Gotti being the head of the Gambino crime family, you have to use the word alleged. You can't prove it. I spoke to a lot of producers. They say, well, I know it's there. I like to think about it. I like to deal with it, but I know it's there. There is, and it was funny, I was researching...
That's a good place to leave us. We're out of time.
Okay.
No comment, no comment. It depends on who you are. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
An interesting show. Until next week when you see us, may the good Lord bless you. Have a great week. Stand up, be counted. Get involved.
Hotel accommodations provided by the Howard Inn, your home away from home.
This is a BET News Brief.
Good afternoon. A congressional panel is asking a special prosecutor to broaden his probe of former Housing Secretary Samuel Pierce. The panel claims it has evidence that Pierce steered money to clients of his former law firm and may have committed perjury. The